Hey guys, I'm Kayla, and this is the Rosie Renegade.
I'm Deonta.
This is my husband, and we are here today to talk a little bit more about what it's like to be with someone with allergies, especially for someone who does not have allergies and has not had anyone in their family recently have allergies as well. So, my husband has been with me for about 6 years now, so he's been very used to my food allergies and how they've changed over time. The last couple of years have really heightened, and my allergies and my food intake has changed in our diets. So I thought it'd be helpful for us to kind of talk about how our relationship has grown and how it's changed over the years with my food allergies. I know it can really be actually like a tense conversation for a lot of relationships, especially if they've been going for a long time and allergies just suddenly pop up. It's a really hard adjustment, especially for the person who does not have the allergies, to adjust and be thoughtful and patient with the other person as well. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So first, we're going to talk about what it's like for new relationships. So, like I said, for us, it was 6 years ago. But tell me a little bit about what it was like for you to find out that I had all these food allergies.
I think at first it was, I guess it wasn't too big. I feel like the first ones we started off with was like peanuts was the most important one, which was not uncommon to hear, even though there was no one that I knew that had it. Um, the only thing for me that I really changed was I used to eat just peanuts out the bag as an after workout snack. So it wasn't too big for me to give that up. And then seafood and some of the fruits were the other ones. I know seafood was another big one. It was, especially at first, it was easy enough to only eat it when I was not around you. Um, but otherwise, it was just I just try to keep from eating those things while I was around you. Um, And then of course you had some of the ones like fruits, but since they were, I would say smaller allergies, or it was more so that you just couldn't eat them, um, not couldn't be around, couldn't touch, or those type of things, then it didn't change too much of what I had to do.
Yeah. It's funny, you were really accommodating. It didn't feel like a big deal to you. But I know that's not the case for everybody, and that food allergies for new relationships can be like a heck no. But yeah, so I think that's a big thing. You can kind of tell first up if the person is gonna be accommodating to you. If it makes you feel uncomfortable or like you're a burden, that's a red flag because you're gonna have food allergies probably for the rest of your life. So yeah. Okay, so my allergies have changed. How have you felt, or how have you kept up with how my allergies have changed, especially over the last 2 years?
Yeah, I think really it's just each time there's a short adjustment period, but once you get used to it, you get used to it. So there's just that period of having to check the labels on everything again and trying to remember what you can and can't do. Especially at the beginning of quarantine when it was garlic and eggs and certain other stuff where it was just they're used as a lot of ingredients and stuff. So it's not actually, the end product that you're worried about as far as more so let me check the ingredients on everything. Um, Especially when it comes to just seasoning mixes, which of course can just have a lot of everything. Um, yeah, so I think it's just that period of being mindful again. But like I said, once you get used to it, it almost becomes automatic. Um, I think sometimes I even think about it more than you.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's true. Very true. But yes. It kind of goes into the next question of how you help me monitor my food intake. There's been plenty of times where why are you eating that? I'm like, oh yeah, I can, or maybe I shouldn't eat that. Because as the person with allergies, you're just it's your life, and you're just kind of sometimes you get kind of tired of it, of not being able to eat anything. But as the other person who cares about you, you're just I'm gonna need you to be alive, and I'm gonna need you not to have to go to the hospital. So I'm gonna need you to cut it out.
Yeah, and I think it's once you start to like memorize that list, it's just like it almost again becomes an automatic of like I'm gonna check this, and especially I think when it pops up a lot is like I think I'm more careful when like new stuff comes in of just like making sure to check the label of stuff like we've never seen before. Um, which I guess for me is more since I had to, I guess, think about it more than I just do think about it more. Where for you, it might have just
It's just my
been
life.
more internalized. For me, it was more something I had to like consciously think about. So I still do consciously think about it, especially when new things pop up.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good way to put it. Because when we were in quarantine for a while, we were just cooking and cooking like, pretty much like a good rotation of our favorites and staples. So until the world opened up again, like I had to figure out what I can eat all over again.
Yeah.
Like being gluten free pre quarantine was a totally different diet than after. So yeah, it's for sure true. Um, so next, like how has it changed your diet? Like me being gluten free or nut free, you talked a little bit about how you had to cut out some things or change when you ate things. How's that feel now?
Um, like one of some of the big changes is we're just like I stopped cooking fried foods just because at least when it came to like breaded fried foods, there was just not really didn't really make sense to make it just for me. So like that's something that I'll go to Bojangles and get some chicken if I want fried chicken. But otherwise, everything that we cooked just ended up not being fried, which was a good thing just to have less to eat less fried food. So it wasn't like you know I think just looking at the positives of it all, of instead of like thinking about the negatives, it just you just learn to cook in different ways. You just learn to cook with different techniques. And I think for me, I'll always like experimenting with cooking, so it wasn't like a downside to me. It was just like you just had to figure out new ways to make it taste good. So as long as you make it taste good, I'm
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, because I'm gluten free and shellfish free and nut free, but like for a while we tried to be vegan and like that's another added layer of restriction, but by choice this time. And like we really enjoyed it. Like it was fun trying to learn how to cook different things, and like some things were like good, some were nasty, some were not filling, but like that's you give it a chance, and that's just another thing that you can put on your menu. Um, and then also, like, we have a child together. One of the things we were really worried about is him having a ton of allergies because mine is hereditary. My mom has a lot of allergies that I have very similar ones to her, and hers is from autoimmune disease. So growing up, like, that was a possibility for me as well. And I was also worried about my child having that. He has one food allergy, being lactose free. We found that out like pretty early on, maybe like 2, 3 months into him being born, with his like not taking regular formula well. And so he's been lactose free ever since. And that was different for me. I've never had to be dairy free, and now like not by force at least. So how do you deal with having two people now having allergies and different allergies at that?
I think the easier thing for that is like I'm lactose free as well. Um, even though I'm not super sensitive to it, it's still something that I'm always conscious of. Um, so in that respect, that felt like
Yours
an
is by
easier.
choice, mostly.
So yeah, like I said, it's not I'm not the most sensitive to it, but it still bothers me. So it's still something that I was mindful of. So that one didn't feel as worrisome at all. I think more of it was just that beginning period of trying to understand if he will be allergic to more, and just like going through like those different testing periods.
What's that?
But
Testing your child for allergies, especially when we did peanuts. Good God, I was so nervous. So we had our bag packed for the hospital in case we needed it. But I mean, yeah, having a kid with allergies, it's a toss up because they, especially at a young age, they change so drastically and so quickly, like for good and bad. And you see one, you're like, dang, this has got to be on my radar now.
yeah, So yeah, I think that one was more of like almost like a relief, just because it was like I knew it could have been so much more. So I wasn't as worried about just worrying about that one thing.
He's 4 now, so we haven't had anything else come up. No other issues, food related.
And especially for lactose, there's just so many alternatives now that
It's
I know
really
there's a lot of people who aren't lactose but still don't drink cow milk just because they don't want to drink cow milk. So there's so many options these days that and just lactose free yogurts, lactose free this, that, whatever.
I
That
have a very full life without
yeah,
it.
there's not much of an issue when it comes to that.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like one of the biggest things is just having to embrace it. Like, as the spouse or the significant other or the parent of someone with allergies, like, you have to embrace it. It is so hard to go through this journey on your own. Being at a table with people who are just eating bread and pasta and all these things is really hard. Like, because at least for me, I know what it tastes like, and it hasn't been that far removed since I've had it, and I know I like it. But for things I've never had before, like peanuts and like shellfish, I don't feel the same way because I've never had it, and I don't know what I'm missing.
Right.
But for things that are new allergies, it is so hard not to like have that support system, and you've been amazing at doing that with me. And like, you don't make me feel like I need to make 2 different meals for dinner, or that you're constantly cooking all these things that could contaminate our kitchen, and cause me or our son harm or stomach issues down the road, because it is so not worth it to eat like that at all. Um, but I will say, like I said before, there's a lot of couples out there who have a hard time with that. And I get it. Like, food is a big part of American culture and life, and you want to be able to eat what you can eat, especially if you can eat it. But it's just a choice, I guess.
Yeah, and I think when it comes down to it, there's times you still get to have what you want, whether it's you eating out or just when you get some time alone where you're away and we just get to maybe throw some shrimp in a dish that usually I don't have it in. Just taking advantage of the times you can have what you want, and then making the adjustment during other times.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you definitely, when we go out to eat, there's probably the most times you eat something that you want, which, I mean, I'm not cooking it. It's not my kitchen. I don't care. As long as I tell you that, I'll tell them that I'm gluten free, it's not going to make a difference because the rest of that restaurant's probably not gluten free either. So as long as they're taking the precautions, you can eat what you want to eat. Everybody's happy. You brush your teeth when you get home, and we're good. But okay, so what is the last piece of advice you'd have for someone who is significant other or parent or caregiver to someone with allergies?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is just understanding that there's all kinds of food that taste amazing. So even though you may have to change what you're used to eating, you don't have to change or give up having good food. And I think that's the main thing that you really care about. I think once you get past a certain point, you stop thinking about it as much that like, oh, I'm not getting this meal the exact way I'm used to it. And you just start enjoying the food that you have and enjoying that it's still good food.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you for joining me today. It's definitely valuable information that I can't give because I don't know what it's like to not have allergies. I've always had them. So if you guys have more questions about what it's like to have allergies or to be a part of someone's life who has allergies, let me know. And then he would be glad to answer them, or I can help answer them if I can. But thanks again, and we will see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.